Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Randy McAtee, and today I'm going to ramble on a bit about a local market that's right up the street from me. It's called the High Market. It's an Armenian market, or it's owned by Armenians, and they sell, food that Armenians would buy, Turks would buy, and those who eat Mediterranean cuisine. I'm going to talk a little bit about them, maybe a little about Armenians, and a little bit about Ohanyan. So anyway, again, this market, the High Market, is located, it's at the corner of Bullard and West. It's on the northwest corner there. And anyway, yesterday I went there to get some of their Hungarian salami, which my wife and I kind of got hooked on. And while they were cutting the salami, there was a gal in there shopping, and I'm kind of new to the things that they offer, their meats and whatnot. So I asked this gal, what is it here that you buy? What meats do you buy when you come here? And so she goes over and she points through the glass at some Bastirma, which she says is delicious and that you eat like jerky. Well, I've never had Bastirma, but I recently saw a video on Reddit where some guy made some Bastirma from scratch, and it looked awesome. So ever since I saw that video, I've had it on my bucket list, like I got to try some Bastirma or make some. So anyway, I bought this 8-ounce package of Bastirma, and here it is here. It's about lunchtime here, so I'm kind of munching on it. Guess you could see that, and it's made by Ohanyans, and and I get home and I look at the label, because I didn't look at it there, and upon close observation, I see that Ohanyans has a business right here in Fresno since 1978, which I've never heard of. So I look up the address of Ohanyans and find that it's they operate out of a small warehouse down on Sussex Avenue, which is not far from where I used to have a shop when I had a contracting business. Anyway, it looks like, from what I gather, that they sell their specialty products to specialty stores like the High Market and stores that cater to Armenians, Turkish, Lebanese, etc. People who enjoy Mediterranean cuisine. And I also noticed on the label that it says halal meat, so I guess I don't know much about halal meat, but I'm pretty sure that means that it's kind of like that's what like what kosher is to Jewish food, halal is to for Muslims. I believe it has to do with the approved manner of slaughter. Anyway, as an aside, some of these little mom and pop businesses amaze me, and they do oftentimes very well. My wife and I stopped in for a cup of coffee when we were going up Highway 49 to go to Mariposa, and we stopped at the Mariposa Coffee Company. It was right off the highway. We get a cup of coffee, and when we pulled in, then this guy's got this thing out in his driveway, and he's doing some process of it, and then inside he's got a roaster that he's been using for 30 years, and 30 years plus. And long story short, he had products stacked up in his garage that he was shipping all over the world. So and I even found his coffee later at the local Whole Foods in our Fig Garden shopping center. So anyway, so just a little aside, I suspect this Ohanyans, which I've never heard about, although it's a small operation, I suspect they have a very well established customer base, given that they've been in business since 1978. So I get home, and I'm looking at this label, and it says in really small print here, it says cook. Get my glasses here. It says cook to an internal temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit. So anyway, I was eating this stuff raw, and let me show it to you. It is like jerky, similar, but it's a little bit moist. This is like 4 pieces here, so they're very thin. 1, 2, and then this piece here. Excuse me while I eat in front of you. Okay, so it was 3 pieces. Anyway, it says cook to an internal temperature of 160 degrees, and I'm eating it raw. And then I noticed on the very bottom it said cook thoroughly. So I call up the high market, and the gal answers, and I ask her, I said, you know, I don't know much about this. This gal says she eats it like jerky, but I've been eating it raw, and is this okay? And she says, oh yeah, I've never even noticed that on the label. She says, just eat it plain, no problems, whatever. So if I do get sick and die, I'll blame it on the Armenians. So that, anyway, they had a lot of olives on the counter too, and above the cold cuts. And again, I've been in the store off and on, but I'm trying to acquaint myself with some. They got a lot of things. You know, if you want Armenian food, you want Armenian bread, pita bread, and all the different lavash and all the various kinds of bread. They got that stuff. But I'm just acquainting myself with it. My wife does make pita bread, and in fact, the other night I made shawarma, and my wife generally makes the hummus that you use with it, and I make the garlic sauce. So. But we didn't have any hummus on hand, so I went there and I got hummus, and we had a delicious meal of shawarma. So anyway, they have all these olives. Oh, by the way, when I was there, I bought they did have a Mediterranean olive assortment. I don't know, with the Kalamata olives and whatnot, and I got some of those to go with our dinner. And I also got the pickled turnips. Forget what you call them, but I think you can just call them pickled turnips. But anyway, I'm looking at these olives on the shelf, and I asked the gal, I said, you know, which one should I try? And there was a lot of them had like Armenian writing, which is very distinct. That was in, and you know, it was on the cans. But she pointed out the Ordi olives. Now, here's a can I got right here of these Ordi olives. And these olives are from Spain, and they're pitted, and they had Ordi olives in both. In fact, I'm eating them because I'm sitting here for lunch. They had them both in black and green. So I decided to try these black ones. Now, I'm a gringo, and usually when I buy black olives, I just buy the cheap California ones that run. I know I used to get them from like 79 to 99 cents a can, but I think they've gone up like everything else. They're probably $1.49 or more now. But the California ones are, I use the word my wife used because I had her try these. And she said, first thing she said was, they're not mushy. And that's the truth. They're almost like, even though they're of course in liquid, they're almost like a little bit dry, and but they're nice. They're firm, and for lack of better words, they're they're just tasty. At first I was kind of like, but now I'm enjoying them, and I kind of think I prefer the firmness and to the California olives. The the other thing I noticed about them was there's not nearly as many. In fact, I don't know if I saw any broken ones. And the ones I get at Save Mart, Food Max, I don't know the brand, but I know they're from California. Those olives, they have a lot of broken. They're whole, but a lot of them are broken. Anyway, I thought, I'm not really plugging the market so much as just making commentary and making a video of how I pass my time here in Fresno. And I do like this little store. And there's a lot of Armenians in Fresno. If you don't live in Fresno, you may or may not know that. But this has a long history of the Armenian population. And in fact, in Fresno, it's pretty large, because I read that we have like 40,000 estimated Armenians in Fresno of a population of somewhere around 560,000. So we have a large population of them. And there are some famous ones like, William Saroyan, the author, and a lesser known one was Samuelian, Varaz Samuelian. And I kind of joke with Armenians sometimes that I know more about Armenians and their culture than they do themselves, and it's mostly from reading. There was an Armenian professor who wrote a book. It was a really good book. I wish I didn't get rid of it. It ended up in the good hands of an Armenian lady, and now I'm wanting to read it again, so I may go back to her and borrow it, because I can't even remember the name of the book, but it had little chapters, one-page chapters of all these events in Armenian history and all these things in Armenian culture. That was very fascinating. Unfortunately, even though I read these things sometimes once and twice, my retention isn't what it used to be. But it just so happens that since I was going to be talking about Armenians, that I popped out this book that I read called Willie and Varaz, and I have it here. And this is a cool book. It's about William Saroyan and Varaz Samuelian. And Varaz Samuelian was a local artist, and he had a place downtown in what we would maybe consider the poor section of Fresno. And he was a very humble man, but he did some really great works of art, including the David of Sassoon, which they had in front of the courthouse in Fresno on the courthouse lawn. I don't know if it's still there or not. I maybe talk more about that, because it's kind of interesting. He also did the bust of William Saroyan at the Saroyan Theater. And I'm going to read a little section here from his book where he talks about the bust. He said, to celebrate the entire community to celebrate the statue, an entire community of individuals and organizations had arranged a great banquet in the Convention Center exhibit hall. The theater of the Convention Center is now called the William Saroyan Theater. In 1984, I made the bust of William Saroyan that now adorns the entrance to the theater. William was the principal guest at the banquet. There were 2 California assemblymen, Walter Kaharibian, attorney, Paul Mosesian, the Reverend Harry Masurlian, and all the priests of the area. There were 1,800 people in attendance, Armenians and others. The occasion was, however, financially unsuccessful. I had worked on the statue for 3 years, but I received an amount that was only enough to cover my actual expenditures for materials. It was the first time that William Saroyan had appeared at an Armenian gathering. Now, I have to backtrack here. I believe that he's referring not to the bust that he made, which I believe he made later. I believe he's referring to, because in this chapter it says, we put up David of Sassoon in 1970 in front of a county courthouse. So now I'm backing up here. And he said, I completed the 28-foot high statue of David of Sassoon in 1970. I erected it in the Fresno County Courthouse Park at the corner of M and Tulare Streets. I produced the statue and the foundation all by myself except for one stone. When I was pouring the cement for the foundation, Willie was there, and I said to him, Willie, would you place this mountain rock in the cement? He did. The next day he handed it to me with this note. Passerby, Varaz of San Benito Street made this mighty statue to honor David of Sassoon, the common people himself, me and you. So I don't know how well that came across in my reading, because I'm not the best reader, but the fundraiser apparently wasn't for the bust of Saroyan. It was for, if I'm reading this right, let's just get to the point. The point being that here you have a great artist, and you have an assembly of all the dignitaries of their culture and their race in one place, and a donation is taken for this marvelous work of art. And out of 1,800 attending, the majority of them being Armenians, he says he received an amount that was only enough to cover his actual expenditures for materials. It's kind of an indictment against the Armenians. Armenians, I know some of you are going to listen, you're going to hear this. Don't be mad at me, okay? I'm just saying, you want to honor those who exalt your culture, and it's always good to honor the arts as well. But Samuelian was doing both in his service, in making that statue and in making the bust for the later for the Saroyan Theater. So anyway, in the future, I'll talk more about Armenians here, because like I said, I've read a bit about them, and they're a big part of the Central Valley. Look at a lot of successful businesses out there, and you can't be here and not run into them. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for joining. If you like this video, feel free to leave comments. And I'm a new YouTuber. Don't hesitate to let me know you liked it, and press the like button. And if you like it enough and feel like subscribing and hear more of what I have to say in the future, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back at you later. Thanks for watching.